Graduates and guests, may we have your attention, please? Convocation is about to begin. If you have a mobile device or pager with you, please turn it off or silence it during the ceremony. Thank you for your attention and congratulations. If able, please rise.
We wish to acknowledge this land in which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Wendat Nation, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. We're also grateful to have the opportunity to celebrate the achievements of our scholars who graduate today. On their behalf, let us express gratitude for the support of their families and friends, and for the faculty and staff who have guided them in their pursuit of knowledge. Whatever of our own traditions, let us reflect as we proceed through the convocation ceremony on the many years of effort, sacrifice, and success that have brought us to this time of celebration. One of my most important roles as Chancellor is to serve as chair of convocation ceremonies, conferring degrees upon our graduates and celebrating their entry into the University of Toronto's distinguished alumni community, and I'm deeply honored to do so today. In Concilium Universitatis Torontoensis Vocatis Sumus. Graduates, please remain standing. All guests, please be seated.
Insignissime cancelaria. Presento tibi hosce scholares, ud admentator ad gradus varios, testerque eos quad omnia quae, statuta requirent aptos et idonios esse.
Ad perfectum hues provinciae, huesque magnae patriae, et ac perfectum omnium notionem omnibus interis canentatum ego, ex autoritate mihi et ote Universitati commissa admet vos ad gratos varios, quorum or vobis do et quoque ut omnia conficiatis munera quae ad illos grados pertinent.
Please be seated. My name is Melanie Wooden, and it's my great privilege to serve as the 17th President of the University of Toronto. Today, I have the additional privilege of assisting Chancellor Wes Hall in conducting this convocation. The university is an institution with deep historical roots and many enduring traditions. Among those is our use of the language of the medieval university in today's wonderful celebration. For those in attendance who, like me, are less than fluent in Latin, a translation may be helpful. For my part, I said, "Most distinguished Chancellor, I present to you these scholars, that they may be admitted to the various degrees, and I bear witness that, as far as all things which the statutes require, they are fit and suitable." Much more significantly from the standpoint of the graduating class, the Chancellor then replied, "To the benefit of this province, this great country, and to the worldwide community of nations, I, by the authority vested in me and in the whole university, admit you to your various degrees, grant to you the rights, and ask of you the responsibilities of doing all those things which pertain to those degrees. And so, as my first order of business, I am delighted to salute you, the graduating classes of 2026 from the School of Graduate Studies, the Henry N. R. Jackman Faculty of Law, and the Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. That's it. You're done. Warmest congratulations. I would also like to bid a warm welcome to everyone who has joined us here today in historic Convocation Hall. Graduates, today the University of Toronto is formally recognizing your hard work, your accomplishments, your perseverance, and this milestone. Each of you, as a member of the graduating class, is joining an exceptional family of University of Toronto alumni. U of T has a global community of more than 720,000 alumni in 200 countries. They are the university's living legacy and our greatest ambassadors. Today, we are also recognizing Martin Cates, an internationally acclaimed film and television producer whose work through Prospero Pictures has brought Canadian storytelling to the global stage, earning major awards and honors, including Academy Award nominations, the Order of Canada, and France's Order of Arts and Letters. We will hear much more about our honorary graduate in a moment. For now, let me simply observe that U of T alumni serve in leadership roles in every corner of the globe and in every walk of life. They are prime ministers, justices, scholars, authors, community and business leaders, scientists, and professionals of every description. Their endeavors have shaped the world we live in and the way that we understand this world. We have no doubt that the University of Toronto's high international standing can be attributed to generations of dedicated and very talented faculty and staff. But we also understand that this reputation has been built by our alumni, a group that now includes each and every one of you. So, to the graduating class, let me say thank you. Thank you for your many contributions to the university while you were a student. And thank you for what you will do as members of Canada's largest, and I believe most distinguished alumni community. One more word of thanks is in order. I'm sure all graduates have a sense of gratitude to the friends and family members who have helped bring them to this special day. And I would ask you to join me in the podium party in thanking them with a vigorous round of applause. Let me continue with a request. One of the distinguishing features of our convocation is that graduates come forward to be recognized individually to enthusiastic applause. You will then leave the stage following the red carpet, exit out the door and around the hall. At that point, you will turn left and quietly re-enter the hall as your peers continue to be recognized. In that spirit, I encourage you to think of the very last person who will be on this stage. And I believe that will be Leshy Zhu. Could you please stand up, Leshy? everyone remember Leshy and return to your seats? It's now my privilege to invite University Professor Jutta Brunet, past Dean of the Jackman Faculty of Law, to present our honorary graduate.
Martin F. Cates, please stand. Martin F. Cates, Faculty of Law alumnus 1984, is one of Canada's most prolific feature film producers who has elevated the country's film industry to the international stage. He is renowned for the production of such critically acclaimed films as Spider, Hotel Rwanda, A Dangerous Method, Cosmopolis, and Maps to the Stars. Through these works, Martin has not only shaped Canadian cinema, but also secured a place for Canadian stories in the international film community. Under his leadership, Martin's Toronto-based production company, Prospero Pictures, has established itself as a powerhouse in the industry, creating award-winning films that showcase the depth and diversity of Canadian narratives. Beyond feature films, Martin has also made a mark in television and documentary production, including with Spectacle, Elvis Costello With, and Ice Road Truckers. With broad intellectual and artistic interests, Martin pursued an unconventional path that took him from further studies at the Université de Paris 1 to a teaching position at l'Université de Moncton, to serving under the Honorable Adrian Clarkson at McClellan Stewart, and finally to the world of media and television. He achieved success throughout, and his career is an inspiring example of the varied paths available to our graduates, paved by a strong foundation in legal reasoning and exceptional analytical skills. Alongside his professional activities, Martin devotes significant time to causes that reflect his commitment to Canada and its cultural fabric. As chair of the Academy of Canadian Cinema and Television, Martin transformed the Academy into the industry's cultural and business center. He currently serves as a devoted board member of the Institute for Canadian Citizenship, as well as Le Français pour l'Avenir, French for the Future. For his excellence in the professions as a producer, innovator, and champion of Canada's creative industries through an extraordinary career that has shaped Canadian cinema and helped to elevate its international prominence, Chancellor, on behalf of the Governing Council, I ask you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, upon Martin F. Cates.
On behalf of the University of Toronto, and by virtue of the authority vested in me, I have the great honor and pleasure of conferring on you, as I do now, the degree of Doctor of Law, honoris causa.
Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you, Professor Brunet. I'm profoundly grateful to the nominators and the Governing Council. Congratulations to the class of 2026. You know, I'm from Winnipeg, and if you aren't familiar with where that is, it's that geographic place in Canada where summer is defined as 2 weeks of bad skating in August. It's so remote that growing up in Winnipeg and studying there, I had no idea that University of Toronto Law School existed. I knew about that other place further north, but I did not know this place existed. And so when I applied to law schools, I kind of threw in an application to this other place, just in case, things went wrong at the other place up north. And then I was faced with this happy circumstance, which was that I was accepted at both law schools. And I did what I thought any law student would do, prospective law student would do, faced with that choice. I made an appointment to interview the dean. So you know. Sheepish at being grilled, the dean of that other place said, you know, we'd love to have you in our faculty, but U of T is the toughest law school to get into in Canada. So you should take that into consideration. No one knows this in Winnipeg, I said. But I do thank him every day for his grace in directing me here. That encounter and this place changed my life forever. It was then and is now beyond dispute that Jackman Law is far and away the best law school in Canada and among the greatest in the planet Earth. It's also true that the Monk School and the School of Graduate Studies are also fantastic. If you're as lucky as I am, some of the classmates you've met here at U of T will be in your lives forever. And some of your professors too. You'll celebrate with them. Maybe you'll get to work with them. You may mourn with them. You'll laugh with them. And if you're truly lucky, like me, you'll fall in love with one of them and come to know the profound joy of raising kids together. I only practiced law for as long as it took to serve under articles. As Professor Brunet said, another intervention prevented me from returning to practice. Adrian Clarkson, not yet Canada's 26th Governor General, was taking the helm of the publishing house, McClelland and Stewart. We had met while I was a master's student in Paris, and she asked me a blunt question. Are you still planning to be a lawyer, or do you think you might want to do something interesting with your life? You know, much to my parents' dismay, I took a pay cut and joined her in publishing, and that led to an introduction to the publishing and film and television business in Canada and in the US and in Europe. And that led to a job at the CBC and then to a job at Atlantis Films and ultimately to a position at Microsoft, where I was asked to produce programming to encourage people to be on the internet, which I did. Sorry. And now I run my own film and television company. Is it really that far afield from the study of law? After all, law, like film, involves storytelling. We learn through the study of cases, which is really the reading of stories. It was Bluebell time in Kent, wrote Lord Denning in 1970. My classmate, Sean Nakatsura, Justice Sean Nakatsura, 45 years later wrote, when he pleaded guilty to the charges, I had no idea who Jesse Armitage was and why he did what he did. He's a large man, boyish in his face. He looks a lot younger than his years. This is terrific storytelling, and it's storytelling in the service of social justice. John Laskin wrote about pleadings. Counsel must carefully consider what story to tell and how to tell it. That's as true of legal pleadings as it is of writing and producing and of storytelling in general. And I think it's a clue to why so many graduates end up in this industry. When a friend of mine in Los Angeles sent me an impossible to finance script, I proposed importing a financing model from the cable television days for one of the first times into the studio feature film business. There's a global system of treaties, Canada is party to 52 of them, that allow nationals of treaty countries to produce films together to optimize financing. I knew from my study of international law how to interpret and apply these treaties. What I did not appreciate was how nearly impossible it would be to finance the first and only ever UK, Italy, South Africa co-production that would be Hotel Rwanda. Closing the deals around that film was like the highest pressure, 100% final take-home exam in which I was tested on every law school course and a lot of pre-law school courses I'd ever taken. Negotiating, banking law, insurance law, labor law, employment law, secured transactions. In fact, after weeks of 20-hour days, one final issue threatened to derail the entire deal, and it turned on an arcane principle of applicable law and jurisdiction. Now, I hadn't studied entertainment law, but I had taken a number of obscure courses, including Angela Swan's Conflict of Laws class, and that course served me in resolving that final issue at well past 2 a.m. one morning, and that movie got made. Years later, I still meet young people who studied Hotel Rwanda in school or watched it with their families, who tell me how significant an impact it had on their lives, motivating their decisions to become journalists or human rights advocates, or to study law or global affairs or public policy. Because story is what unites us and helps us contextualize and understand and project what is happening in the world. Working on David Cronenberg's elegiac film, The Shrouds, helped me come to terms with my father's passing just weeks before we went to camera. Watching Sarah Polley's brilliant Away From Her gave me insight into managing my mother's descent into dementia. And shooting Skidegemu Juegadik at the Place of Ghosts was an introduction for me to the Two-Spirit Mi'kmaq community in Nova Scotia. What we hear, and what we see, and what we read is our connection to our family, to our society, and to our world as Canadians and as humans. And it's not just the stories we experience, but how we experience them, I think, that defines us. Attending to narrative in groups is as uniquely a human, social undertaking as there can be. Laughing, crying, singing, or being scared together in a theater or a cinema or a concert hall or a pub is a profoundly unifying act of civil society. It's not surprising then that the breakdown of civil society we see around us today arose with the twin technological developments of the atomization of audiences through the rise of streaming and the concomitant collapse of broadcast on the one hand, and the explosion of what's euphemistically termed social media on the other. You add to that the pandemic, and we all have to be vigilant, I think, not to accept the seduction of social media and the online world as a substitute for actual, real social interaction and civic engagement. As Jutta mentioned, for 2 decades I've served on the board of the Institute for Canadian Citizenship. I'm now the vice chair. It's an organization that seeks to drive social cohesion for new Canadians through culture. Recently, we produced an event in The Hague where a young doctoral student made his way through the crowd to find me. "You produced Hotel Rwanda," they say. "Yes, I did. Did you study it in school?" "No," he replied. "I'm from Kigali. My family is Tutsi. Only my sister and I survived the genocide. I came over here to thank you for telling our story." That was a reminder that story, both its telling and attending to its telling, is the lifeblood of civil society. I want to wish you all the delight and the power of story as you go forward from this place, and wish you congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates from the Henry N.R. Jackman Faculty of Law who are being admitted to the degree of Doctor of Juridical Science. Michael John Salvatore Bove. Michael Lassard. Candidates from the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degree of Master of Laws. Chua Si Ming Andre. Kunwar Bir Singh. Candidates from the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degree of Global Professional Master of Laws. Dalila Jarvis. Adaku Lawson. Candidates from the Henry N. R. Jackman Faculty of Law and the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degrees of Juris Doctor and Master of Business Administration. Hannah Sophia Therese Caban Beltran. Samuel Drazen. Damian Fitz. Julian Greco. Soo-Wah Jo. Muhammad Falel Coker. Theodore Ngo. Aaron Alexander Nugent. Amanda Oprizen. Christina Louise Wolf. Joshua Shu. Christopher Ioannou. Candidates from the Henry N. R. Jackman Faculty of Law and the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degrees of Juris Doctor and Master of Global Affairs. Matthew Robert Chasmar. Sheila Kwok. Candidate from the Henry N. R. Jackman Faculty of Law and the School of Graduate Studies who is being admitted to the degrees of Juris Doctor and Master of Public Policy. Akash Jain. Candidates from the Henry N. R. Jackman Faculty of Law who are being admitted to the degree of Juris Doctor. Ufoma Ruth Akalesi. Azra Arij. Michael Dexter Barber. Alexandra Marietta Beck. Jenna Madonna Victoria Beeler. Benjamin Bayless. Joshua Paul Benjamin. Tristan Gary Darren Besdy. Eden Bialik. Emma Jocelyn Blake. Emma Blanchfield. Ethan Meyer Singer Bloomberg. Maria Bond. Harjap Kaur Brar. Zoe Brown. Garvin Alexandre Brutus. Laura Alexandra Burns. Paul Hermano Buzzelli. Alex Henberry Byrne. Jane Haeyoung Byun. Aiden Wrigley Torbar Carley. Anastasia Xenia Castro. Annie Yanwu Cheng. Rachel Joran Cheng. Albert Cheng. Aris Chuljan. Evan Tyler Chow. Natalie Chow. Lisa Chung. Julia Madeline Conway Colombo. Sophia Christina Kornakia. Delaney Cullen. Robin Page Comiskey. Amanda Danielle Curry. Christian Carlo D'Ambrosi. Tara Danesh. Emma Ann De Tomaso. Jugdeep Dillon. Kabir Singh Dillon. Ryan Dixon. Thomas Vikasali Dobrovich. Ian Joseph Dowd. Irfan Ehsan. Daniel Eljez. Ben Mikael Elhav. Emily Elizabeth Ernst. Sarah Asias. Shireen Fezel. Catherine Fan. Rosemary Feng. Tyrone Tianchen Feng. Emma Ling Farrell. Matthew Thomas Farrell. Lucas James Fisher. Cameron James Flanagan. Alexandra Lynn Marie Fong. Julia Elizabeth Ford. Georgia Emily Gardner. Iris Rebecca Gatia. Soliana Gedlu. Liam Gary. Catherine Getler. Justin James Garibo. Kyle Gurdhari. Matthew Theodore Goldenberg. Brianna Grief. Amanda Sophie Hacker. John Ramsey Haddad. Brittany Munker Hahn. Saida Hassan. Sakina Hasnain. Tyler Alexander Hastings. Fatah Hayer. Sidur Francis Hook. Solomon Reuben Hoffman. Ki Yang Hong. Timothy Hong. Parker Hopkins. Glenn Davis Howard. Maya Hribar. Zatru Hu. Ziyan Huang. Arif Hussein. Adriana Ishak. Rachel Jane Gilchrist. Ikran Abukar Jama. Ashley Cam. Puneet Kanda. Maddie Capogianis. Alexander Kelly. Amanda Kennedy. Harmohit Kara. Hamza Mehdi Khan. Ethan Kibble. Jaren Kim. Alana Kitely. Jonathan Koo. Andre Jeffrey Lenau. Jimin Lee. Ye Young Lee. Olivia Katerina Lepp. Wenfei Liao. Kershin Liu. Roxanne Elizabeth Locke. Jacob Lokash. Kathleen Ma. Jeffrey Hoan Ma. George Jameson Macaulay. Olivia Elizabeth McDonald. Jane Suzanne McGregor. Sarah Lutz McKenzie. Paula McPherson. Arvin Mahmoudi. Sahara Iman Mehdi. Jacob Malash. Chloe Merritt. Cindy Meow. Max Michelson. Vlad Mirel. Tristan Schuyler Montag. Thomas Christopher Mora. Chelsea Fadzai Musanu. Seth Aaron Nevsky. Amit Nehru. David Abraham Nidham Dent. Anna Nectarline. Gul Nuruk. Miriam Patsakos. Michael Polowitz. Anton Jacob Piatigorsky. Taya Paladano. Megan Nicole Polishak. Megan Rose Meister Raber. Nathan Nicholas Ramsden. Sonali Ravi. Samuel Devlin Rayner. Ashley Nicole Robinson. Michael Anthony Raklowski. Julia Cara Ruth. Vincent Anthony Santaguida. Lisa Joanne Schultz. Emily Kai Seagull. Katrina Sellinger. Catherine Jane Shackleton. Maureen Shahai. Navya Sheth. Justin Shin. Allison Silkoff. William Arthur Smith. Taylor Spire. Evan James Squire. Ella Stoyan. Bardia Taba Tabai. Roy Tadros. Blair Tinkham. Celine Tai. Celine Sang. Karina Mary Raymond Vandenhoven. Thomas Hayden Vine. Emily Christina Walker. Dylan Alexandra Wall. Annie Wong. Ching Wang. Lily Wang, Josephine Windsor, Beitel Weldu, Tian Ying Wu, Xuan Wu, Grace Xu, Leon Xu, Luke Yan, Mei Chen Yi, Isho Han, Sarah Zaitlin, Justin Michael Zekorn, Angela Zamingi, Angela Zhang, Meg Jianing Zhang, Jerry Zhao, Qijan Zhao, Jiang Zhang, Muyang Zhou, Ariana Zunino, candidates from the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degree of Master of Global Affairs. Fez Ahmad, Tara Al-Musawi, Jonathan Jojo Aishan, Asma Ali Awanwa, Asma Ali Awan, who is it? Thea Baines, who's this? Who's this? Okay, sorry. Jeannie Bronowell, Kenneth Chen, Sherez Ajaz, Isabel Marie Facinelli, Larabe Fatima, Benjamin Albert Faust, Patrick Feng, Dylan Fitzsimons, Artyom Gavrashev, Yotam Gabai, Janelle Gunaratnam, Anya Louise Haldeman, Vladislava Heads, Will Richard Hicks, Jia Jen Huang, Maya Iskander, Christine Jean-Louis, Kanchan Kargwal, Michelle Khan, I see what's going on. Jaren Kim, Daria Kravchenko, Shejin Lamya, Junru Lee, Ziling Li, Ren Ying Leong, Jacqueline Hui Ming Lo, Ma Yi Yuan, Callum Kent McKay, Patricia Maslachak, Sadie McIntosh, Quinn Liu Hallman Mellenbacher, Haya Habib Musa, Shireen Maroof Marad, Catherine Murphy, Caitlin Lamba Ganga, David Oseso Osage Okoje, Adam Robert Parker, Jean-Pierre Swanland Pelado, Gauri Yogini Prasad, Amelia Georgia Phillips, Wajman Ramini, Rachel Mary Rajaratnam, Lorraine Ramzani Beludi, Lauren Elizabeth Reeves, Andrew Albert Scarlato. Sesha Sharma. Tara Savafard. Sabrina Shuckle. Maya Ravina Kaur Sunner. Abigail Talik. Rui Teng. Aryan Tarim. Sydney Lauren Weisner. Yango Yan. Darina Zabchik. Ridia Zhang. Hao Zheng. Anastasia Zvir. Candidates from the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degree of Master of Public Policy. Kika Iris Adutan. Maha Ali. Brianna Stephanie Anderson. Anjaya Krishna Anjali Jairaj. Yordanos Ashabar. Nazreen Bashir. Yuvika Doshant Patia. Julia Catherine Chapman. Yu Jing Chen. Zezdin Butlevsky Chachkovsky. Alessa Katona. Valentina Maria de Leon. Daniel Diamond. Blake David Douglas. Stephanie Maria Fidel. David William Gates Fortier. Anissa Gandhi. David Glass. Sahana Gunaratnam. Sahar Hamdam. Anna Sophia Hansen. Charles Hanscom. Megan Henderson. Kejiao Ji. Yiwen Jiang. Lisa Kanapatkia. Noah Lee Jaeun. Zihao Lee. Helinyi Liao. Young Look. Lena Christina McNichols. Gianluca Mandarino. Rita Maraga. Daniel Martinez Ramirez. Liliana Christine Andrade Mason. Georgia Maxwell. Mashaim Suman Mubarak. Alexandra Muchalov. Sonia Mungal. Izan Mirzabekova. Sebastian Dion Neal. Varvara Novopoltseva. Stephanie Panofsky. Cassandra Portelli. Gabriela Quintero. Tamara Rahal. Tasnia Reza. Rhythm Sachdeva. Harmanbir Sandhu. Apneet Kaur Sandhu. Samia Siwani. Laiba Sheikh. Keshav Sharma. Fadil Sheikh. Regan Margaret Simpson. Joselle Alyssa Singh. Krithik Sivabalan. Drew Stuckley. Erin Elizabeth Strahan. Yi Ming Sun. Mark Tam. Bingyu Tian. Claire Jacqueline Mary Tipoff. Taylor Bly Turian. Andrew Tereski. Noshin Ula. Jack Van Oord. Isabel Alice Vargas. Andrea Rika Villa. Tara Vujasovic. Catherine Wang. Shihan Wang. Yifei Wang. Xiang Wu. Ananya Yadav. Tenzin Yanqi. Tat Chi Thomas Yue. Xin Yi Zhang. Yingxua Zhao. Noisher Zhao.
You guys were pretty loud, but yesterday was louder. Just saying. On behalf of the University of Toronto and by virtue of the authority vested in me, I hereby admit all of those candidates not here present to their degrees in absentia.
As we conclude convocation, I wish to thank you all for your participation and your patience. To the family and friends and those of you in the procession, let me say thank you. You have made this a more memorable occasion for each member of the graduating class. I would like to thank Chancellor Westphal for presiding over today's ceremony. I wish to thank as well the many other colleagues and friends of the university who participated in this convocation. To our honorary graduate, Dr. Martin Cates, let me say that you have inspired us with your lifetime career and accomplishments. And today, you have inspired us with your words. Thank you and congratulations. I now invite the Chancellor to bring today's ceremony to a close.
As I bring this convocation ceremony to a close on this, your special day, I hope we'll see you often in the years to come. And I invite you to stay connected. We'll be very interested in your journey. And we know that you'll make an impact for the better in whatever path you choose. Concilium demissum est.